Today we're going to talk about lies. Lying, withholds, omissions, all of it. And we're going to talk about the impact of lying and also how to know if someone in your life is lying to you and what to do if you have a lie or withhold between you and someone else, so something that you've not revealed. So the impact of lying is it's felt. We are all made of energy. Every human on this planet is just energy. And whether you think of yourself as a sensitive or intuitive person or not, you are. Your body is. Your soul is. And so if someone is lying to you, you feel it. It lives in this space like a thorn. And it festers in the space and becomes a wall that grows between you and another person. And that lie affects our soul, it affects our bodies. We know it's there, even if we don't consciously know it's there. So lies take energy. Like they actually literally siphon energy from the person who is lying, but also from the relationship itself, where that lie lives. And I'm saying the word live because it actually lives in the space. And it occupies energy. It literally occupies energy. I'll give you an example, a little vulnerable one, but when my current partner and I first got together, we lived halfway around the world from each other. He lived in Bali, I lived in the United States, and we had an open relationship for that first year and a half where I was dating someone else, he was going on some other dates, and there was something intimate that I did with someone else that I was dating that was breaking an agreement with my partner. And I didn't share it. It was an omission. It was a withhold. And I rationalized this lie as, oh, he doesn't need to know. And it wasn't a big deal. And I could hear these little voices in my head really downplaying it. Like, you don't need to share this. It's not a big deal. And then every few months or so, or every month or so, again, that voice would come up. Like, you don't need to share that thing. It's no big deal. But it kept popping up. It was like pinging. It was like a little piece of popcorn when we're making popcorn on the stove, and it would just pop. And I knew that this lie was going to be a block towards future intimacy with my partner. And I didn't want that. I wanted to go deep with him. And so I knew, begrudgingly, that I would need to tell him. And this was 6 months after the incident. I was so scared. Again, all those voices came up, but I knew I had to share it. And I did. And he was hurt. He was angry. And I'm so glad that I did. Now, 7 years later, we're still together. And we have a really strong commitment to not only not lie to each other, but to be fully transparent and honest. And I really feel like that moment was a choice point. So lies, they're alive. And they occupy energy, they siphon our life force, and they also siphon the connection, the intimacy of a relationship. And they're so important to be spoken to and named and released. And it might mean that your relationship ends as a result, or it might mean that this other person is angry at you, but it needs to be shared. So how do you know if someone is lying to you? And this is also a tricky one to work with. I'll also give you an example. I have a roommate, and he keeps forgetting to lock the front door at night. And the other evening, he was walking into the house, and he was the last one in, and I was in the kitchen, and he was walking to his bedroom, and I just said, oh, hey, do you mind locking the front door? I've noticed that you've forgotten a few times. I tried to say it in a kind of light, funny way, and he looked at me and just said, oh, yeah, I'm just getting something from my room, but I was just about to do it. And just as he said those words, it was like almost like his words had this like energetic wobble to them. Like his words that were spoken almost like went like wobble. And when they hit me, and again, this is me tracking it back from the moment. When they impacted me, I felt kind of like fuzzy and wobbly. And immediately I registered, oh, he just lied to me. he was lying. And this is seriously a no big deal lie, but it was a lie. And so I just kind of stood there in the kitchen and kind of chuckled to myself, like, oh, and he's such an awesome guy. Like, he's never, from my awareness, ever lied to me before, but I could feel that he wasn't speaking something that was true. And sheepishly, he came back into the main room and he just said, hey, Juna, I just lied to you just then. And I looked at him and I smiled and I said, I know you just lied. And he's like, how'd you know? And I was like, I could feel it. I could just feel it. And he's like, yeah, I keep forgetting to lock the front door and I'm sorry. And I was like, it's no big deal. Thank you for naming it. And I felt joyful and I felt even more connected to him because he shared. So lies, when someone lies to you, you feel it. You feel kind of fuzzy. You feel hazy. It's kind of like that gaslit, like smoke and mirrors, like wobbly mirrors, wobbly floor, funhouse feeling. There's like a feeling of being a little dissociated. There's a feeling like their words don't have that kind of crispness of like a resonance of something that just feels clear. Like, even if you just play with saying whatever day it is that you're listening to this video, like for me, it's Monday. So I'll say, today is Monday. And I can like feel the crispness of those words. But if someone came up to me and said, today is Wednesday, my system would just be like, whoop. It's like a little wobble. No, it's not actually Wednesday. It's Monday. So those are things you can do just to kind of sense the subtle energetic of a lie. Last piece I want to discuss here, what to do if you've lied and that lie is here and it keeps pinging your awareness like it did for me and you wish it would just go away, you wish it didn't happen, but it is here. What to do with that? And so what I would say is, first of all, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Would they want to know? Would they actually want to know this truth? And even if in the moment it hurts, it sucks to hear it, how might they want to hear it? So put yourself in their shoes. How would you deliver speak this truth in a way that would be most supportive? Sometimes it's helpful to bring a third party online, so like work with a therapist or coach to really hold space for you to speak the truth. Sometimes it can be really helpful to speak it in the mirror as if you're speaking to that person. Another thing that I've had clients do is just write a letter, an unedited letter, to this other person where you just fully name all of the truths. And this isn't a letter you're going to send the person. It's really almost like an exercise of release for you. And you get to read the words and feel the energetic of releasing those things. So if you have something that you've withheld, something that is a lie that lives in the space between you and another person, see if you can compassionately nudge yourself to speak it. And a way that I've kind of like framed it is, there's something I need to share with you and I'm scared and I don't want to make you uncomfortable. I don't want to hurt you. And I'm also afraid of being hurt and I know it's going to feel really uncomfortable. And I want full honesty in our relationship. I want to have a relationship with you where transparency and honesty is the bedrock of our connection. And so I'm really sharing this in the spirit of moving in that direction with you. So I would just nudge you to go ahead and take that action step. And it might be really hard. It likely will be, especially if it's a big one. And the payoff, the end result is so worth it.